it's Emily Williams, the founder of I Heart My Life and your host of the I Heart My Life show. This is episode 129, How to Create a Life You Love, behind the scenes of 3 real-life journeys. So today I'm talking to 3 incredible women. We have LaDawn Townsend, Charreah Jackson, and Emily Rose Summersett. They were a part of our recent Hot Mess to Mega Success training series, and I wanted to make sure to bring this episode, this interview in particular, over to the podcast because it was so good and so inspirational. These ladies have created so much success in their lives, and they've created a lot of freedom, joy, and happiness right alongside it. And I wanted to share how exactly you go about doing it. So I've interviewed the 3 of them today, and I'm bringing this episode to you. I know you're going to be inspired by their journeys. You're going to be inspired by the way in which they show up and live their lives. So really listen for that inspiration as well as for that implementation. So go ahead and take massive action after this episode. I know you're going to be inspired to do so. This episode is sponsored by the iHeart Coaching Workshop. This is a 2-day experience for new and aspiring coaches looking to build a thriving online coaching business. So I'm going to be joined by my whole team, giving you all the information you need for discovering who your ideal client is, designing your offer, high performance tips so that you can go to the next level in your life, in your business, getting clear on what it is that you actually want in your life and your business, the marketing strategies that are working right now online, and of course, money mindset, which is one of my biggest specialties. We're also going to talk about sales and the way in which you can ramp up your sales goals and reach some new clients and finally achieve those revenue goals. So go to iHeartCoaching.com to learn more about this workshop happening on September 16th and 17th, 2020. And I'll look forward to seeing you there. I am joined today by 3 very special guests. I'm going to let them introduce themselves in just a second, but I want you to be prepared for some major inspiration on day 2 of Hot Mess to Mega Success. These ladies are total powerhouses. So I want you to be listening not only for inspiration, but listen to what they did to create success. Listen to the things that have worked for them, and then take those tips and apply them to your own life and business. Okay? So let's go ahead and dive in. So LaDawn, would you please introduce yourself to everyone watching?
Hi, everyone. I'm LaDawn Townsend, CEO of the Boss Group, also known as the Accelerator, but that was not always my story. My acceleration was like going through a school district at 15 miles per hour on a Sunday when I first started my business. But I am so excited to be here. I met Emily a few years ago when I was needing to turn my hot mess ideas of a business into a mega success. And this is a full circle moment. So I'm joining you from downtown Los Angeles, and glad to be here in the company of such amazing, powerful women.
Thank you, LaDawn. And we're going to get more into all of the work that you do in just a second. How about you, Emily Summersett?
Yeah. Hey, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I know we have a global audience here. My name is Emily Rose Summersett, and I have been working as a mindset coach, and I also specialize in rapid transformational therapy, RTT. And I really love supporting women entrepreneurs and learning how to really understand how their conscious mind works and how their conscious mind basically creates the reality. But Emily and I actually met, I guess, many, many years ago, about 6 years ago, through a mutual mentor. And she and I have been, we're fast friends and have been friends since. And we've traveled the world together, and we're loving collaborating and supporting amazing women just like you.
Amazing. Thank you, Emily. And Charreah?
Yes, indeed. Hi, ladies. Super excited to be here. When I met Emily, it was actually at a media dinner where I was at the time a magazine editor, and I was so excited to see her because I had been seeing the Facebook ads, and then there she was in person. So I had a business crush on Emily for years. And I am a coach and a communications consultant. And so after my first book was published, I started growing my business and I had more growth. but I really need to figure out how do I actually scale this. And so I left my corporate position last year and I was fighting to get to 5-figure months. And now I have 5-figure days after jumping into coaching with Emily and doing some of her programs and being in the I Heart My Life mastermind. And it's just been incredible to be in a community of powerful women. Like, launches are scary. I'm in the middle of a launch and it's so great to have this incredible community that's rooting with you, looking over everything you do and making sure you get to the finish line.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. It's so surreal to be here talking to all of you because I feel like I've been blessed to actually meet you in person, whether it was 6 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago. And none of that would have happened had I not actually moved forward with my dreams and invested in, the program I was a part of with you, Emily, and LaDawn. Obviously, we met when you were part of one of our programs, and Charreah, I think it was at Selena Sue's event. So I'm just thinking about all these decisions that we all had to make to actually get here and be in this Zoom room together. It's so powerful and I'm so grateful. So magical. LaDawn, why don't you tell us about your work and how you became the Accelerator?
So my company, the Boss Group, which stands for Vision, Optimization, and Strategy, came as a result of me figuring out what is the one problem I can solve for businesses. And it turned out to be what I did in my corporate career for over 20 years. So I was a fixer behind the scenes. Think Olivia Pope without the sex and the scandal and all of that, but just all of the things to bring it together. And so I loved what I did. I was able to take really complex situations and make them very simple and scalable and profitable. And so when I got laid off in November 2014, I just figured people need this. And so what we do is we focus on growing the bottom line of a company by increasing their revenue by 25% within 4 months, whether they are a startup or a large enterprise. And absolutely love what I do. It is not easy work, but I'm very glad of the work we do and the results we can bring for companies, especially now during COVID, when many leaders are facing downsizing or closing their doors, and we're able to share with them different ways from a startup to a large company of how to keep the business afloat. So that is what my team and I do.
And one of the things that stands out to me about you that we always talk about is that moment on one of our group coaching calls where you were talking about really stepping into your power. Can you share that story with everyone?
The Be the Chanel story, that one? Okay, so I always wanted to do this work. And, but a lot of the communities I was in, no one was really doing the strategy work or consulting work. And I felt a bit left out. And I thought, well, maybe I should, I don't know. I think it was more of a self-worth issue, which you helped me with, Emily. And so on one of the calls, I had given an overview of now one of our core packages that we charge high 5 to 6 figures for. And I remember telling Emily about it. I was so excited. And the price was maybe 10% of what we charge now. And so she just said to me, think of Chanel. When you go into Chanel, there's no discount racks. And that just really hit me. And she said, be the Chanel. She was really forceful about it. And I was like, oh, okay. But I'll trust my coach. Because I love that about Emily, because different levels, whether it's your money mindset or if you need a swift kick in the pants with just be the Chanel. And I had never bought anything from Chanel. So I went out to the department store the next day and I bought lipstick. It was like $45 or something. I'd never bought something like that before, but it felt so good. So now every day we just strive to be the Chanel. The price is what the price is.
Thank you for sharing that. I know somebody watching needs to hear that because like you said, so much about sales and pricing is self-worth. And when we lower our prices, it's not just hurting us and our company, but other people. So one of my mentors actually talks about the fact that his prices are what they are because he cares about his clients. And he had to realize when he first invested that he was counting himself out and saying he couldn't do it because he didn't think he was worthy of paying for that service. And at that price point, he wasn't worthy of the help. And so I think it's so fascinating when you think about pricing from that perspective. It's not just about the number on the paper. It's not just about charging a certain number and throwing it out there. Like there really is energy behind it. And obviously your services completely warrant that price tag, and what you provide for people pays off so many times over. Thank you, LaDawn. How about you, Charreah? Can you talk a little bit about your work and how you got to this point?
Absolutely. I mean, I was definitely a high achieving hot mess. I had a very glamorous career where I started my company actually 10 years ago in 2010, and I was doing coaching. And I was at that time focused on relationship coaching. And a year later, I got my dream job to be a relationships editor at a national magazine. So I got to coach millions of women through my content and also grow my platform as a speaker. And so for me, I realized my coaching kept expanding as I grew. So I started doing professional development coaching and partnering with organizations like Dress for Success. And so I really, over time, people wanted to know, well, this media world, can you help us with that too? And so I say all that to say, all of that work over time, I burned myself out. And so I found myself in this moment where I didn't want to go back to the life I was living, and I needed to build from here. And so my sweet spot, and a lot of my clients, whether they be Fortune 500 companies doing communication consulting and executive coaching at that level to community organization, are really like, how can I be seen? How can I be heard? How can I be legendary? But in order for me to serve in a bigger way, I had to figure out my own high achieving hot mess. And I realized I had to graduate from being a high achiever, someone who just worked, to being a high receiver, someone who was strategic, but also knew how to be supported. And I found the more I worked on that for myself, it's an area where a lot of people struggle, because even though I had relationships in my job title for years, it was an area that I was studying because I myself hadn't fully understood how do I ask and receive support in a higher way. So now I'm excited to really help high achievers become high receivers, and then helping leaders to get their story out to the world.
Wow, that's amazing. I love that phrase, become a high receiver. And you talked a little bit before we jumped on about a personal story where you had to basically take care of yourself to be able to take care of your friends. Are you willing to share that?
Absolutely. It's I got a little excited coming on today because I was just thinking over the last few months of signing up with coaching with I Heart My Life. And because I learned how to be a better receiver and have better support and then implement infrastructure in your business, I'm able to serve more freely inside of my life. So I have a friend over the weekend who just had a brand new baby girl. So she'll be at I Heart My Life in 2050. And so she just had this new baby. And over the pregnancy, I've just been sending her meditations, like really just I'm able to show up stronger because I have assistants and a manager, and it helps me to serve. And so she said, you know what, when I was giving birth, I played one of the meditations that you made me. And so I get to be in the room with this newborn baby, and I get to be a better friend because I'm able to be in communities that support me. So I'm not spending hours and weeks trying to figure something out when you have coaches who figured it out that can help you accelerate your success, but also help you be a better friend and family member in your community.
And isn't that what this is about? Like, I know that strategy is important. I know that making money is important, but this is about your life here. And it's not just the business. It's so much bigger than that. And I'm obsessed with that story. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you.
Emily, are you good to chat now?
It appears so.
Okay.
Just really quickly, a little bit more about RTT. RTT is wonderful because it allows me to go into my client patient's subconscious, access it. We can go in there and find out what beliefs, what events that happened in their past that are blocking them from receiving whatever it is that they need. And then also I can go in there and begin to put new positive suggestions into their subconscious and reprogram their mind for success. And so it really is a truly powerful form of therapy. Like I said, it combines the psychotherapy, the hypnotherapy, the neurolinguistic programming, and then also the cognitive behavioral therapy. So it's using all of these therapies to really help heal the women and men that I work with, and so that they can, create new belief systems. And, it really is connected to our minds. And, if we're always firing the same neurons, then we're going to keep getting the same results. So my job is to go in, create new neural pathways in the brain, so that they'll start to, my patients will start to behave in new ways and then create new realities for themselves.
And I know you got into this work because of your husband and what he experienced back in the day with depression and anxiety, and you trying to figure out how you could actually help him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. My husband, I guess this was probably a little over 14 years ago. He was diagnosed with bipolar 2 disorder, which we now know is just a way to label, a dis-ease in the mind. And obviously he's a totally different person now because he learned what was going on behind the scenes. But yeah, he wanted to take his life. And so I just, his life, my life depended on him getting healthy. And so I sought out any resource I could find on really beginning to understand human consciousness and the human mind and how we operate. And his healing journey began and my passion for this work began. And it's just, I feel so blessed to be on this path.
Yeah. And you are two of the most amazing humans in the world. So I'm grateful to know you. So I love you. So one of the reasons why I wanted to have all these ladies here for everyone watching is because they're actually going to be three of the experts in our I Heart My Life membership. And so one of the huge blessings of my life and James's life is the connections that we've made over the last 6 years. And we literally have so many different experts at our fingertips, like these women and other experts who we're going to be bringing in to support you in the membership. And for me, that's one of the highlights of everything that we do, because Charreah, for example, you said, I love working with I Heart My Life. And like, that's ultimately been our goal over the last few years, is to not, remove me, but to realize that this is a company and that it's so much bigger than me. And that there's so many other people who can serve our clients and support them in an incredible way. And so for anyone watching, first and foremost, these ladies are amazing. I'm sure you can see that. And this is your opportunity to actually learn directly from them and other amazing mentors and experts when you join the I Heart My Life membership. So I'm sure my team is going to post the link below. You can go to iheartmylife.com/membership. But I wanted to drop that in there right now because the membership has been redesigned. We now have 2 tracks and it's open just for this week. So this is your chance to learn from these ladies literally over the next few months, which is amazing. So before we close things off, there's a few more questions I have for all of you here. So I'd love to know a little bit more about what community has meant for you and how it's created more success in your life. Obviously, we're talking about the membership. It's the perfect place for people to meet like-minded women. So LaDawn, can you talk a little bit about your experience with community?
Community is having your back on a live stream when you don't understand yourself. I remember, coming from corporate, community is really not spoken about. You're really on your own corporate ladder. Who can you take out for the next position that'll pay you another 2% a year before taxes? And I remember being a part of this community. The biggest thing that helped me, and it still helps me today, is finding my own voice. There's so many stories you've shared with us, Emily, over your journey from the chocolate bar at the hotel in Australia. I still remember that, to even things I observe in your business today. I think as women, we find ourselves having not to be a part of community as a strong player, but thinking that we have to conform and be like everyone else. But the best community is when you show up as your powerful self. And then you have a group of powerful women that are doing that. And so what community has taught me is how to show up authentically who I am. I'm in a very male-dominated space where I would say 90% of our clients are male. We work with corporate clients in India and Africa, and it's a very different conversation. And so what I have leaned on in community is, how do I be myself in those communities? And it starts with having a community of my own that sees me as myself, doesn't let me off the hook when I could go bigger. But it's really, I guess, finding the power of who I am as a businesswoman, as a woman first that happens to be a CEO, and then I was going to say mom. I'm not even a mom yet, but as a sister and a daughter. And once I harness that, it doesn't matter what community I go to, whether I had a chance to travel to India to visit one of our clients, and I did some business trips on the trip. So I was in 4 different countries within 12 days. Wow. And I just remember I had an amazing experience where some of my colleagues would be scared to death to be a woman to travel on their own. But it's because I know who I am. And I know the power I have, and it's not obnoxious and it's not to brag, but that is what fuels my business. And so I think first knowing yourself and bring that to the community while you search for things, but I guess give to the community that you're a part of and not just take. That's been the biggest lesson for me and the biggest empowerment for me.
That's so true. And thank you for putting that kind of spin on it and reminding us that we're not only getting something from the community, we're also there to give. And that can become one of the most amazing elements of it, where like in the membership and all the programs the ladies here have been a part of, you met a lot of people who you were able to support and give back to, and vice versa. And there were bonds formed and business partnerships formed and doors opened. And so really the possibilities are endless. Thank you for sharing that. How about you, Emily?
Yeah. I mean, when we start a business and we are trying to pursue a life bigger than our dreams, it really is so important to have a support system in place. Obviously as women, it's natural for us to want to give and support others, but it's also so important for us to receive. So when we surround ourselves with amazing, like-minded women, we become unstoppable. And so, we can't do it alone.
No.
The sooner you embrace that truth, the faster you're going to succeed. And so, I would definitely join Emily's community here, because you are going to be fully supported. And, all the ups and downs, the lows, the celebrations, you'll have women who have your back. And that's priceless.
Yeah. And I mean, those of you who came to I Heart My Life Live in January, you would have met Emily, because she and her husband actually came and volunteered and supported the mission and were there in the room, which was super powerful and amazing. Yeah. Awesome. How about you, Charreah? How has community impacted you?
My entire life. I mean, every great blessing experience, all my top experiences in my life have come through community, because yes, I'm smart and yes, I'm savvy, but I was not smart or savvy enough. So many of the biggest things for me, I can say I've been to Oprah's house. That's only because of my community. I met one of the great loves of my life, introduced to a friend. I'm single now. If you want to set me up, I'm open. But so many great things happen through community. And I think it's particularly important right now because, we are in a whole pandemic outside, right? And so what will happen is there'll be people who come out of this stronger, and there'll be people who don't come out of this stronger. And the people who come out of this stronger are people who surrounded themselves with powerful people. And so before I jumped into the mastermind, I was a member of the membership and still am. Emily did a great Q&A call for the membership just this week, and I was on there. And in the membership, it was so many great resources, so many great nuggets, and also so much great community. Again, back to community, because I'm like LaDawn, where I made a big pivot out of corporate into entrepreneurship. And so I have great group chats with some of my friends from college. And not all of them are talking about building 6-figure and 7-figure businesses. So sometimes if you are building, or if you are in a space where you want to go for that big life, you might not be in a circle where that's sort of the conversation that's being had. And it's important for me, and the ways I was able to accelerate my success is that I saturated my mind by being in communities like this. And so to really, when you hear Emily's story of like going from 6 to 7 figures quickly, it's because she was in communities. When you see us, it's because we stayed in rooms that elevated us, but also normalized that what we wanted was possible and available.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you for that. And let's just bring it all back to Oprah. You've been to Oprah's house. I mean, could I be any more jealous? No.
Emily, can I tell you a secret really quickly?
Yeah.
Is that now I haven't done Super Soul. I was just there, not just there, but it was an event. So I wasn't there as like a Super Soul guest. But now, and because I know we both are like we're going and we're supposed to work with her, I see you in my visions now when we go. I'm like, well, when I get invited back, Emily's coming. And I already have she's got to give me at least 5 people. And I know some of the people who've been in my team who roll with me that I want to ride in the car. So the fun part is when you do get to go to new spaces, we get to go together.
Oh my gosh, I'm there. We're actually moving to Santa Barbara, and I'm going to be way closer to her. It's my dream. So thank you, Charreah. So one of the things I want to touch on here is just how all of us have gone for our dreams and done something different. And that's not an easy thing to do. And I know there's a lot of people watching who might be thinking, oh my gosh, I have this big dream. My heart is calling me for something different. And how can I possibly do that? How can I deviate from the path? How can I move from corporate into building a business? How can I throw away my whole degree and start something new? So, James was even asking me this the other day. He said, how is your life different than what you expected? And I always knew I would do something big, but I didn't know it would be this exact same thing. So I'm curious for all of you here. So how are things different and better specifically because you chose to follow your dreams? And Emily, I want to go to you first and just share a reflection from my perspective. Like you and Scott, you've lived all around the world. You're constantly traveling. You spent months in Europe. Like now you're living in Hawaii. So I always look at you as the epitome of what's possible and that freedom that you've created because you chose to go down this path. So can you speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So 2011, that was my year that I took the leap. And I honestly cannot imagine my life had I not taken the leap. Because, I was in a typical, I spent 15 years working both corporate and nonprofit in a 9-to-5, which is a very narrow perspective on life. And taking the leap, it's like all these amazing doors just continually, even today, continue to open for me. Like the people that I meet, the opportunities that come up. Obviously, starting my own business and, living that laptop lifestyle, it's allowed me to see the world and to experience different cultures and meet new people. And then it's attracted amazing people and women like you, all of us women here. And so it's just take the leap. Like if you're getting ready to, or you've taken the leap and you're, scared, just keep going. Because I promise it's like, there is just this beautiful life that's waiting for you. And it's just going to keep unfolding and becoming more and more amazing. As long as you just trust yourself and trust the process and trust your journey, it's just going to open so many wonderful doors, and including meeting an amazing community of people who share your same values and are going to be your soul sisters and soul misters. on the path.
Love it.
Not myself. It kind of it fit.
Yeah, I like it. How about you, LaDawn?
Well, I like what Emily was saying, the soul mister, like, bring that on. No, I'm just kidding. And I remember
you and Charreah, single. Anyone out there who knows somebody perfect?
I'm still waiting for your book, Emily. I'm still waiting for the book. My life is better than I could have ever imagined, even though there's still much more that's going to come. And, when I think about building this company for 6 years, and I was thinking the other day, I was talking to someone and they've been in their business 10 years. And I was like, they were just sharing their story. I was like, wait, that's just 4 more years for me. And I always believed that if I just took a step forward, that my life could be designed better than any Hollywood story, even though it's much risk, right? What we do is extreme risk. Even now with people folding up shop and, looking for different ways, one, I'm unhireable. I could never go back to corporate. One, they couldn't afford me. And 2, I'm not sitting at anyone's schedule. Like it's just not going to happen. And so when I think about my life, especially in the moments, as I say that, I'm thankful for this call today because that wasn't my mindset this morning. We have these times where there's so much to do in the business and, navigating the team and is this done or this error on the website or, oh my gosh, why did the email funnel send 3 emails? Like, why did that go? So as I'm sitting here listening, I'm in such an immense state of gratitude because I'm not where I was and I'm not fully where I'm going, but I'm in such a better position. And that position and just this conversation has helped reaffirm me of where I'm going. And so I think for me, it's been, if I would have given up, where would I have been? I would have been probably back at corporate, making 6 figures, enjoying just the weekend. But now I get to design the life that I want. I'm looking at real estate. Who does that in the middle of a pandemic? Well, this woman does because I'm looking at commercial real estate because while people are giving up their leases, guess who wants to sweep in and people are going to need commercial space in the next 3 to 5 years. So what's helped me so much in being in community and being with mentors like yourself and being around women who are going for things. I heard a saying one time, you never want to be the strongest person in the weakest group. right? Like you, and I remember a mentor told me that, a much wiser woman, before I started my business. And I was like, what does that mean? and she was really just talking about the levels of our life. And she said, you want to run with the pack where everyone is strong within themselves, where you need to keep up or you'll get left behind. And I think that's the next phase. Oh, sorry. Downtown life. There's a fire truck. Sorry about that. And I think that's the next phase of my life. And so I'm over the moon about all of it, and just taking in the moment of where I'm at right now and knowing that there's so much more ahead.
I love that. Yeah. And thank you for the reminder, because things aren't always perfect and there are struggles and challenges. And that's one of the other reasons for community. So you're not doing this alone, and other people can be the reminder of what's possible, or be there when you need somebody to pick you up or remind you of what you're meant for. So thank you for that. What about you, Charreah?
Well, I'm almost tongue-tied. I'm so full. This month for me marks 15 years since I had my last treatment for cancer, for radiation. So I'm 15 years in remission. And so
congratulations.
Thank you. And I'm here. And so for me, the gift of life is something that I don't take myself serious, but I do take the gift of life very serious. And like, I'm sitting here, and in 2 days, I'm preparing a deck. I have a sales call with the American Cancer Society to have them have me as a coach to help other people in the journey. But I'm not waiting on other people. I actually, but when you talk about what does it feel like now, I'm launching this new program all around upgrading your energy. And I've got people from every part of my life who've signed up, right? Who said, I've seen you transform your life. I want to know what you did. And because of taking time to really organize and integrate systems, I now can say, here's a process for people. So now I have like friends from college or people I used to work with who I'm seeing write comments as they go through the training. And it is surreal to feel that I didn't waste the gift of life. Like now I'm in a position, until LaDawn's point, I'm just getting started. So it's like, what gets to happen when we take ourselves serious and we take our dreams serious? Because to your point, it's not a nice idea to actually do the thing that's in your heart to do. Those dreams you talked about, it's like there are people waiting. There were people who, the second I sent that launch email, I could tell they've been waiting for years for me to actually finally launch something. And they were like, okay, thank you. So for anyone else who's been talking about a launch, like these are the types of communities you want to join that will get you out of your way so that you can get to doing the work you're meant to do.
Yeah, because it's about so much more than just you. There are people out there who need your message, need the thing that you're going to offer and put out into the world. Thank you for that. All right, final question, I promise. So for everyone watching, I'm sure that they're really excited to know some of your top success tips. They want to take action. They want to move forward. So Charreah, can you share one success tip with our audience?
Yes, indeed. Well, originally, we talk about the power of community, but what does that actually look like on a daily habit? And so for me, I'd say update the favorites on your phone every month and actually take the time to check in and message. I mean, one of the best things about right now is people aren't as busy. So I've had so many calls with people who I might have been intimidated to reach out to 6 months ago. And so the biggest thing is, like, we hear it in a nice idea of being a community, but my success secret is that I actually call and text people, and I send mail, I send handwritten cards. Like that right there has allowed me to build the relationships that have grown my career.
I love that. I know you shared the story previously of reaching out to one of your old teachers.
Yeah, actually in iHeartMoney, which is an incredible program, but you have in the program, you say, well, what you say, pull out a picture from when you were 5. And I took it an extra step and I called my kindergarten teacher who I hadn't talked to in decades. And she was so excited to hear from me. So thank you for that one.
That's beautiful. Love it. How about you, Emily? What's your tip?
Yeah. So my tip is work on yourself daily. Go to the spiritual gym, go to the mental gym, go to the emotional gym, because you are your business's number one asset. You're your client's number one asset. And when you work on yourself and you master yourself, then everyone benefits. Obviously, you get to live your dream life, and you can be the solution to the world's problems by showing up as your best self. So that's my tip. work on yourself every day.
Charreah's taking notes over there. She's like on a train.
Best version, because our world depends on us doing that inner work to see the reflection on the outside.
Beautiful. Thank you. How about you, LaDawn? Take us home.
I would say the number one tip I would give people is to overcome whatever their biggest fear is. So my biggest fear was around sales. So sales was sort of the outcome, but really the core of it was a self-belief. And when I started digging into why I was afraid to sell, but I had big dreams. I had, it's funny you talk about Santa Barbara, Emily. I was like, I'm like, where in the world in California am I going to buy this mansion? Like, what are we doing here, people, right? And so you go look at the houses and you test drive the cars and you go to Neiman Marcus before they file bankruptcy and you go try on the clothes. And so I would say the biggest tip that's helped me is I had to look at my fear head on. And when I say overcome the fear, I think there's two phases. There's a phase where your roadblocks and challenges will always get bigger, but you will find new ways. So new heights, new fears, new roadblocks. But I had to figure out I am going to overcome this and then declare with my words. Our words are so powerful that we speak over ourselves. Like I can't even be around people that talk around. The words that you put out into the atmosphere can shift so many things, and people don't believe that. Whether you think, oh, this person's not going to sign up for my program. Well, you've already said it and thought it. So there's things that are going to happen. And so overcoming that fear, whatever it is, mine was for sales. And once I was able to overcome that, what I really realized is I was afraid to fully show up. And because I was afraid to fully show up, I wasn't going to sell my product. But in order for me to have the big life I wanted, to have the car and to have the house. And so when the soul mister shows up, he knows what he's working with already, And so just overcome the fear. It's not going to feel easy all the time. And it is going to be in the back of your mind. But you have to declare that you will overcome it. Because if you don't, the fear is overcoming you. And then you're living this life of control by this object or this thought that doesn't exist. And so, there was an online mentor I followed the other day, and he released this video about having tough conversations in your relationships about what do you really want? What do you both want? And it's a fear. There's so many people that are living in fear. We conform because we're afraid to push past the fear. And what if when you push past the fear, your life could be greater than you can imagine? Because that's mine. I cry every time I get on a live stream now, but because that's so serious. When I got laid off and I didn't want to go back to corporate, and then I had to, and then I made a decision I wasn't going to again. It is easier for me to face the fear than to conform because I can't anymore. I'm not built to conform. So that would be my tip for everyone.
Thank you so much. So grateful. So wise. You ladies have made my day, and I'm sure everyone watching has so enjoyed this and been inspired to take action and move forward with their dreams. Like you said, LaDawn, we are not born to conform. We are born to stand out and to be on our own path and to live our best life. Okay. So anyone watching, please take a note from these amazing women. Sign up for the membership. We want to have you in the community. We want you to learn from all of them, plus everyone else we have in store for you every single month. So you'll see all the information on the membership page. If you have any questions at all, my team member, Marilyn, is in here. She can chat with you. She'll hop on the phone with you. She'll do anything she can to support you in getting clear on whether this is the right fit for you. And thank you so much, ladies. I don't know what else to say. You're incredible. I'm so grateful for all of you. Thank you for brightening my day and for being here and for all your wisdom. I hope you loved today's episode. Like I said, go ahead and take action on behalf of your dreams immediately. That's how you're going to get results. And one of the ways that you can do that is by signing up for our iHeart Coaching Workshop happening very soon. If you're looking to grow your online coaching business, this is for you. You're also going to expand your community by getting to meet other like-minded individuals going for their dreams. So make sure to go to iHeartCoaching.com and sign up today. And I'll talk to you next time. We hope you loved this episode. Thank you so much for being an avid listener of the iHeart My Life show. Take a second and leave a review. It would mean so much to us, and we read all of them. And for further inspiration and life and business tips about creating a life that you love and achieving massive success, definitely follow us at iHeartMyLife on Instagram and at iHeartMyLifeNow on Facebook. See you next time.